And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. And though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Or something like that. I may have got those words a little wrong, but hey, the sentiment is true, from me anyway. And for what might have gone on in the past couple of weeks, I hate all that shit. And I'm referring to two people who fell out, and I hope they can resolve that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know them personally, but I enjoy their content, and I don't want them to stop doing it. And I want everybody to get on, you know, that's me. But there you go. My parents fought like cat and dog when I was a young lad, and that really upset me. I thought they were going to split up at any time, and I carry that with me to today. And I don't like, no, if you come to me with violence, I'll react with violence and smash your fucking head in. But that's the last thing. That's the last resort, and I'm not naturally like that. So, but I hate confrontation. Well, I say that, but if confrontation is necessary, that's what you'll get. But try and avoid violence. It's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Over our history, the bits that may be correct, men especially have been forced into violence with other men. And that's appalling. It does a terrible thing to your psyche, to your whole being. If you've been involved in war where you've actually seen people die or perhaps killed people, that doesn't do the human being any good at all. Anyway, that said, uh, excuse me, I need to pour myself a cup of tea. Lovely. So it's bright, easterly wind blowing. It's a bit thin out there, but it's very nice, really. The leaves are coming out. It's a great time of year. And soon I'll be, the background is going to change. So I'm going to have a big screen with adverts. No, I'm not. No, I'm really not. I'm just, the background is going to change because I'm going to go to another place that's only a few yards away from here. But it will, and I don't want a great big fanfare. I said I was going to have a party. I may still have a party, but it'll have to be very low key. You'll have to come by either at the what's it called? Oh, I've forgotten now. Shit, that was supposed to just trip off the tongue, but it didn't. Transporter room. You'll have to come by the transporter room of the Starship Enterprise, or the TARDIS. And you can just like materialize somewhere very close, and then nobody will see you walking in. But there's parking for, you know, you could park your car wherever you like, but you just probably won't get it back, meaning it'll sink into the peat, or nah, well, whatever. But I know I did invite a couple of people some time ago to the gathering, the housewarming or whatever, and I'd still like to do that, but I think I'd just be very stressed because the last thing I want is cover blown. So you get me. Right. So on, was I talking about the, yes, Saturdays people will be on the imaginary curve. The idea of the, like the force the line thing that Brian Mullen was doing, but over land, what's the point? What are you going to prove to that you can build a horizontal structure over land? So fucking what? That's not, that anyway. But over water, definitely. Now you're talking. And somebody in my comments, and I'm sorry I can't remember who, but it was very good. Suggested, because I was talking about Lego, they suggested the big Lego, which would be far better, far probably cheaper, and as long as it's built with the precision that small Lego is, I think that's not a bad idea. And I think somebody suggested the shore, and I think they were on about shore on in a lake or reservoir where obviously not, in the sea because tides and swell and waves and stuff, you couldn't do it there. So you'd have to do it in a large body of, well, it would have to be fairly straight as well, I would say. So there's another, it's not going to be easy to find a site to do it if it's going to be done. But let's just talk about how it could be done, and I think it is possible. Some other chap said very rightly about cement and water and reservoirs and that they don't mix, and the environmental, what's the word? Impact. It's not really the word I was thinking of, but you would not be allowed, I don't think, to do that. There is like a time that you have to leave, tanks and that. They have to be sealed. Anyway, if it's going to be drinking water, like a reservoir. But the thing is, all that reservoir that's open to the elements, birds shitting in it, and all the contaminants that might find their way in there, doesn't really matter because you're going to drink it anyway because they clean it with loads of chemicals, and that's not a good thing. Yet there are many places around here that just have springs, and people are fine, healthy. The teeth don't fall out because there's no fluoride. Anyway, so there's a reservoir near me, and it's called Scaling Dam because there's a village close by called Scaling, and it's nothing to do with models. And it was a big, well, a fairly large valley that they flooded. I think there was some kind of house or stead in there. Anyway, they flooded it, and the dam that they built to obviously hold the water is stepped. It's a concrete face of steps leading down into the water, and they're exposed in the summer when the water level gets lower because of evaporation, more light, more evaporation. So there's one possibility that okay, you'd think, well, if they are steps and the water, the steps must run for at least quarter of a mile, and if the steps were level and the water level, you get me, say if the water level was an inch from the top of a step, then what's the point in building the Lego structure? Well, the point would be that the ridiculous people who still think they live on a spinning ball would probably say, well, that's only level to the plumb line of the centre of the earth, or some fucking nonsense like that. So you'd have to do it again and build a pillar with the Lego brick, if you're going to do it with the Lego, perpendicular, coming out, plumb, directly plumb every time, not off anything down there, but off the initial pillar, the first point, which is plumb. Then off you go. For, I'd say a quarter of a mile would be long enough. And if the world is curved, the water in quarter of a mile should be 2 inches below the extended Lego bricks. Now, of course, it would sag if you just extended them a quarter of a mile, so you'd have to support them, and that would be easy. Where I'm suggesting at Scaling Dam, where there's steps, because you could just simply support them from the steps. Bearing in mind, you're not taking any measurements or any leveling from the steps. It's plumb. You've got a measurement from the bottom of the block to the step, precise measurement, and you just put a support in with. Well, there are several things on the market, like shims, plastic shims that you put in around windows when you put windows in, the plastic things. You're very familiar if you're a plastic window fitter, or any type of window fitter, really. But say the step thing is no good, you can't do it on the steps, then a shallow water's edge would be just as good, really, because you could hammer wooden stakes in. If you were supporting a plastic Lego construction, you could hammer wooden stakes in every required distance, and do the same. You could just shim them so they would actually sit precisely. There wouldn't be any sag. There wouldn't be any. It wouldn't rise due to the stakes, the posts, the wooden posts, and they could all be. It's cheap. You can remove them afterwards, and possibly donate the Lego to some institution. And of course, while this is going on, it should be overlooked, or it should be viewed by unbiased set of people who have no bias for the shape of the Earth. See, again, most globe people think that people who know the Earth is flat have a bias, but their bias is logic and objective reality. So that is not a bias. That is just, it's called common sense, actually. And it's sadly lacking in many, many, many people. Many people need to find the common sense. It's there somewhere. They just have to, search for it, maybe, or realise it's there and it's been locked away. They've locked it away because of space or something like that. So anyway, I'm going to go now because I've said enough, and I've said nothing really. And the reason I say that is because we don't need to do this experiment. And if we did it, they would just say, but fucking nothing. The Earth is not a spinning ball. And the sooner that you accept that fact, the sooner we can find out where we actually are, and save the human race. How about that one? See ya.
It's not a spinning ball.